Hi, this is Teacher Jennifer. Today we're talking to Kayla from International Rescue Committee about DACA and DAPA. Can you tell us, first of all, what is DACA?
DACA is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's a discretionary policy that was enacted by President Obama in 2012. It allows young youth who are undocumented temporary relief from deportation, and it also allows them to work for those 2 years, and it also provides them with a social security number, so that includes the ability to work. Some of the requirements for being able to apply for deferred action are if you were in the U.S. and under the age of 31 as of June 15th, 2012, and you also would have come to the U.S. before your 16th birthday. Another requirement is that you also would need to have continuously resided in the U.S. since June 15th, 2007, up until the present time. So if you were present...
I have a question. How would they prove continuous residence?
There are several methods for proving your continuous residence. One would be your passport with your admission stamps, showing that you have resided and not entered and exited the U.S. During those times. Your rent receipts, utility bills, deeds, mortgages, rental agreements that show that you have been in the U.S., your employment records, if you have those.
Well, how about as a teenager, you're not going to have those rental agreements? Would school records be okay?
Absolutely. School records, or of course, any records that you could obtain from your school would help you to prove the continuous residence.
Is there anything else?
Sure. So you would need to currently be in school, have graduated or obtained a certificate of completion of high school.
Does it matter what school you're in? So for instance, could you be in adult school, a GED program, community college, anything like that?
Yes, you could be in all of those programs. They count as enrollment in school.
How about some of the trade schools, or is it academically oriented?
It needs to be academically oriented and recognized as well.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Sure. So in addition to the school requirements, you may also be honorably discharged from the Coast Guard or the Armed Forces of the U.S. And importantly, you will need to have not been convicted of a felony, a significant misdemeanor, or 3 or more misdemeanors, and do not pose a threat to national security. So there is a fingerprint check that normally goes along with that. And so what we would ask when you complete the application is, of course, that you would be very open with the caseworker in these issues.
Can I ask you more about misdemeanor? Would that be considered like a speeding or texting while driving ticket?
DUIs are more what we're looking for. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I've been hearing a lot about DACA in the news. And I've also been hearing about DAPA. What's the difference between DACA and DAPA?
Right. So DACA is for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. So as mentioned, arriving in the U.S. before your 16th birthday and having continuously resided here since 2007. Now DAPA is Deferred Action for the parents. So this applies to parents of green card holders, children who are U.S. citizens, and so then allowing them status if they're currently undocumented to achieve status through their child who is either a green card holder or a U.S. citizen.
So that's the case right now before the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Okay.
Indeed.
The other thing I've been hearing is that there's a deadline associated with DACA. Is there a deadline or...
It's not exactly a deadline, but what is happening with DACA is that, of course, as an executive action, it's a policy that relies on the presidential action. And as we all know, of course, the presidential election is coming up. And so it's a bit up in the air. Nothing is for certain what would happen, but because it's quite unclear, and right now we are clear, the policy exists, the executive action exists, there is a push to be able to get anyone who qualifies into the system, get their applications in, so that of course they can secure those 2 years, and before the sort of uncertainty that's going to come up with the presidential election.
The whole thing about DAPA, is that associated with the Supreme Court session that's coming up?
Yes.
Right.
So, yes.
Okay. Is there any paperwork that people can start filling out now for DAPA?
No.
It's still...
It's all up in the air. It's
Okay.
basically has an injunction since February. They have been it's unable to have been moved since that time. So no, at this time there is not anything.
I'm going to step back into DACA for a second. One of the things that's come up with our students is that some people are afraid to apply for a DACA or DAPA because it basically lets the government know where they are, so it would be easier for them to come and be picked up and deported.
Sure. While we understand that concern, USCIS is a different departmental body. It's a different branch of the government than ICE. ICE is where that sort of fear comes from. That's the body that's involved in deportations. Now USCIS is the one who is organizing and championing the DACA program. So entering in and applying for this deferred action will not set you up to be deported by ICE because they are separate bodies and they don't share this information.
And in fact, that gives them 2 more years.
Yes, because living in the U.S. undocumented is a tenuous place to be, and having deferred action does free you from that fear of deportation for 2 years, and it is renewable at this stage. So it's something which we would, of course, encourage, and it does not. Hopefully people would understand that it does not set you up for deportation by ICE.
Okay, do you mind if I switch gears a little bit and talk about citizenship? What can you tell me about applying for citizenship right now?
Sure. So if you are a green card holder in the U.S. and you have been a green card holder for 5 years, then you are potentially eligible for American citizenship. And of course it is very beneficial for people who are eligible for citizenship to apply. It allows for people to be able to reside in the U.S. without having a petitioner. They don't need to worry about whoever, if they've got their green card through work, or if you have it through a relative, you don't need to fear deportation if you are an American citizen, and you can live here and travel freely, and you can vote. And voting and living out of the country is, it's completely open. So of course, if you are a green card holder, you may be aware that if you leave the country for a longer period of time, you may struggle to enter back into the U.S. You may put your green card in jeopardy. Now, this allows you to be able to, come and go as you please, and be able to work for whoever you like. So if it's the case that you have your green card through your employer, you can seek employment wherever you like if you are an American citizen. And it's of course the case that if you have your green card for 3 years and you have a green card through a marriage, then to a U.S. citizen, then of course you are able to apply for your citizenship in a shorter period of time, 3 years.
Well, thank you very much for your information. Do you mind sharing with us your contact information?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Kayla, again, with the International Rescue Committee, and we can be contacted, of course, by email. Now, that's my email in particular is Kayla, Kayla Ladd, Ladd, at rescue.org. And you can also contact us by phone, and if you have any questions, we can review your eligibility for the program. We're happy to help you at this time for free to process your case and to manage the case that you may put in for deferred action. So please give us a call. Our phone number is 408-277-0255. That's 408-277-0255, and you can dial extension 18 for Olga, who is one of our case managers, or Rodolfo, extension 14, or Kataki at extension 17.
You speak different languages, Spanish,
Yes.
Olga.
Yes,
Yeah.
we speak Spanish and Hindi.
And Korean, right?
And Korean.
Yeah, excellent.
And Vietnamese.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.